Hi friends, so I am hoping you are clear with the skills that you should have for becoming a DevOps engineer, right? And also I am sure that you are now familiar with the terms DevOps technically and also how it is different from traditional, and also we have discussed its benefit, goals and real world example. Okay, now on the overview, so let's understand what are the overview of the phases in DevOps that we should be aware of. Okay, so let's understand. So first one is plan. So plan is like professionals determine the commercial need and gather end user opinion throughout this level. So in this setup, they design a project plan to optimize business impact and produce the intended result. So basically, it is like gathering information, same like an waterfall model. So in this phase and in waterfall model, what is different? So in here, it will be continuous. Okay, so we'll learn about all those things in while we will be learning process in the next lecture. So while the software development life cycle gathering information is like you are starting all over from the beginning, but it's not starting all over from the beginning, it's just starting one piece of code and then it will take the plan of another piece of code in there. Okay, now the next one is code. So here the developer subteams comes into the play. So during this point the code is being developed. To simplify the design process, the developer team deploys lifecycle DevOps tools and extension like Git that assist them in preventing safety problems and bad coding standards. Okay. Next one is we are having build after code writing the code we will definitely need to build it. So after programmers have completed their task, they use tools such as Maven and Gradle to submit the code to the common code source. Okay, so basically they are only limited to Java. If you are using another framework, so you can use different tools. So build phase is like it is dependable on whatever framework you are using. Okay, next one is having test. So to assure safe software integrity, the product is first delivered to the test platform to execute various sorts of screening such as user acceptability test, safety testing, integration checking, speed testing, and so on. Okay, now these tools consist of JUnit, Selenium, etc. Okay, so the JUnit, Selenium, all these tools are having their own advantages and they are used for different purposes. Okay, the next phase should be the release. Okay, so basically at this point the build is prepared to be deployed in the operational environment. Okay, now on the above four, it is like an operational or development phase of our traditional method. Now in here, we are starting our development phase, operational phase in the traditional method, but in DevOps, it is continuous. Okay. So we are combining all these things into a single team. The DevOps department prepares updates or sends several versions to production when the builds satisfy all the checks based on the organizational demands. Okay. Now, once the test is built, it is being passed over to the next sub team, which is working in the same sprint to check if it is a release candidate or not. Right. Next one is deploy. So at this point, infrastructure as code assist in creating the operational infrastructure and subsequently publishes the build using various DevOps lifecycle tools. So they needs to be deployed. So various tools are used for it like Terraform or Ansible for deploying, and there is something called infrastructure as a code term. So we'll learn about this in later section. Okay, so if you want to, so on the overview, so if you want to deploy something on large scale of infrastructure, so how you can do that, you can use a code. Okay, so if you will see the example of Ansible, you write something called Ansible playbook. Okay, now you write the code, you set up your hosts in there that hey, you should run all these things in these hosts, and once you run that playbook, it will install or run whatever code you have written on all the hosts you have written in there. Okay, so that's called infrastructure as code. We will learn about this in later sections also. Next one is operate. So now you have deployed the code. Now how you can operate it, if you want to scale it, scale down, or scale up, how you can do that. Also, if you want to add some feature on the infrastructure level, so how you can do that. So this phase do that. Next one is monitor. Okay, so once the operational section is done, you should be also monitoring it for the performance or API, right? So whether it is giving the required behavior or not, whether the performance is good or not. Okay, so you will see everything else in the monitor, and also there are various tools available for monitoring. Okay, so I'm hoping you are clear with the overview of DevOps culture phases. So yeah, that's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll learn about 7 C's in DevOps, or we also referred as the phases or process. So basically in here, we have given the term like plan, code, build, test, but in DevOps, actually, we don't use like that. We use a term called continuous in front of everything. Okay, so we have 7 C's in there. Let's understand in the next lecture. Till then, take care.